Bismillah. The subject of today, faith versus reason. Behind this lecture or talk is what I heard Saturday in the radio, Christian Catholic radio station, Immaculate Heart Radio, a priest with a British accent. I couldn't find his, was searching for his talk. I couldn't find him to bring the topic what he was talking about, but I heard him about talking about bringing something about faith and reason. Then I found similar to what he was saying about the faith and reason. He said, I found an article written by Dr. Jason Leslie. It says some Christians have the idea that faith and reason are in conflict, divided by some unbridgeable gap. They think that one takes over where the other leaves off. Then in end his article, not end, in the middle of his article it says, like, it state this. It says, yes, we are to have good reasons for what we believe, and we are also to have faith. In fact, without the faith, we could not have the reason. So he said, without, look at the conclusion, without the faith, we couldn't have the reason. You need the faith to have a reason. Actually, it's supposed to be is an opposite. A reason, then the faith. Well, so the idea is the priest, he was saying the faith cancel or the reasoning, and the reasoning, the faith. And we have similar in Arabic concept about faith. We said always faith destroy the vision. The faith destroy the vision. If you have a faith, then your faith will block you from be reasoning with others. And I think faith and reasoning, it makes sense for me. Like faith destroy the reasoning. So after I heard this message in the radio, and I already have background about this experience about the concept of faith and reasoning, because when interacting with the people who they believe. Well, I went to the internet late evening to the internet, watched and I went to wherever the people they chat, and I found most the people writing one subject. I don't know what the cause for the matter. Just I'm trying to read what provoked them to say one thing. All the people writings in Arabic regarding one subject. But I don't know. I could infer from what they are writing, what behind it. There must be something. So then I try to see different group about what they wrote about this matter, if it exists or not. And I found a particular group have no comment, as if nothing happened in the society. And in the same time, then I start thinking about why specific group ignore what happened, and others, regardless, they have differences in the way they stand, but they have common in one thing. They talk about one subject which more common for people. Then I came to the classification, which is from my past experience with the public, classify the public. And I found some of the people, when they do something wrong, they know they are doing something wrong. When you talk to them about what they are doing, they acknowledge they are doing something wrong. And because there is reasoning about what they are doing. You say, yes, I'm doing something wrong, I know, but I get something for what you're doing. There is other group where they don't believe they are doing something wrong, and they are doing wrong, and they think what they are doing is correct, is right. But this group always, mostly the group which been taught based on faith. So they do something wrong, but they think that's right, so that's why they don't acknowledge. If you tell them, be reason about this matter, and they don't want to be a reason in the matter. And behind this, I mean, like this subject, which I'm going to talk about it, it's in October 11, 1977, President of Yemen assassinated. And that president of Yemen, at that time, everybody loved that president. He was a president for only 3 years and has been assassinated. So if you ask people who are living at that time, except, I mean, the people who assassinate him, they will not like him, because that's why they assassinate him. And they will tell you he was a perfect man, he was a good man. They will describe him, I mean, beyond what you expected. So the people who lived at that life at that time, some of the youth, they didn't live at that time, they wouldn't exist, but they learned from their fathers or their mothers, because everybody knows the matter, they know it. It's just, that's how that man was perfect for the society. Now you come a group of faith, which being taught through a faith. The group who they've been taught through a faith, which is supposed to be opposing the common knowledge of the public. So now we have a child being taken to a school, and they taught him matters, many things they taught him. And one of the teaching, because they teach him through the religion, they teach him through the religion to bring wrong concept to his mind. So the child here, first of all, the child, he's being classified from a group of not reasoning group. So if he went, for some reason, if he went to his father and mother, ask him, hey, can you tell me about that particular man in your time? I wasn't exist at that time. So his father and mother wrote him he was a good man. But then when he went to the teachers, who they teach him through the faith, they will tell him, you know what, your father and mother, they are foolish. A lot of people, they've been fooled. They don't know, so that's why they tell you that they were foolish. This is more common among people who they have faith, and then they have position against something. They will tell you that the majority of the public, they were foolish. They've been fooled about something. So, as I said, I went through this group, particularly what I'm talking about, who they through faith, is a group being Muslim Brotherhood followers. This group, Muslim Brotherhood followers. So that's how, I mean, he can't accept from his father or his mother, whatever they are telling him, assuming like his father and mother, they are foolish, and his or relative is foolish. He don't want to take the matter through the channel of faith. They teaching him through faith. That man wasn't good. So similar matter. Think about reasoning and faith. If you are reasoning about things around you, you can make decision. It doesn't mean like here when I say like faith and reasoning, it's just the faith itself. Like I know the religion of Islam basically based on something. It's like reasoning, because all verses of the Quran talk about brain, mind. And even though the Quran sometimes name a human being is like the cattle, the one who they don't think, the one who they don't observe, they don't use their brain, and so on. At the same time, he said worse than animals. So, but when you've been taught something wrong and they tell you that is a faith, that's the right, and then you stick for that, considering as a faith. For example, you see like reasoning, like a child, not child, teenager, in the past from California. He's named John Walker. Well, John Walker, when he went to study in the Middle East, Yemen, for sure he doesn't know the country or how to go to there, where to study, but through this kind of people, type of people, they will give him guidance. He doesn't know where to go. They will give him guidance. He can go to Yemen, to the school so and so to study Islam religion. So when he went to the school, supposed to study their religion, and for if you have a reason, and when we come to the concept of reasoning, this young boy, you're supposed to teach him religion and return back to his country to preach the message that you taught him. But since this group, they have no reasoning, and the young boy, he has trust in them, and what they did, they sent him to Afghanistan, a war area in Afghanistan. That's why the government, when US went to Afghanistan, they captured a young man there, and he has then sentenced him for 20 years in jail. So basically, this has a trust. A person who has a trust on someone, and someone has no reasoning led him for something wrong decision. So that's how when you say people are around, I think you could also see this more common among people who they are from different faith, not only even though the Muslim and so on, is a common. Let's go, for example, the person who believes is going to conquer the world and conquer the world. And at this time, it's not like many years ago. I mean, like 1,000 years ago. I mean, it's very simple, 1,000 years ago. Now, for the people for today, which they gather together, a group, and they start building together idea, let's conquer the world, and ignoring the fact that the world has power, superpower around them, and they don't take that in consideration. I mean, they want to conquer the world. That's how they end by creating problem for themselves and for the others. For example, what you see like happening in Iraq and Syria, whatever happening in Egypt, whatever happening in many countries in the Muslim country, is basically because of this non-reasoning for this matter. For example, see, I remember like in 2001, a man came from India and make a lecture here. And he said like Afghanistan will be at that time, like Afghanistan has still is in friendship with this group, with the militant. They are working together against still they are working against the progressive and socialist country. And the man said like this. I mean, I was just listening to him, to his lecturing about the history. He's wonderful. His name Abu Asrar, or Ahmad Asrar. He early died in India. He's very knowledgeable about history. But he said one statement which make me like, I negate. When I heard that statement from him through all this lecture, I negate everything. I started doubting about everything, whatever he told me about the history. Because he said, I predict from this small country like Afghanistan, where the world will be ruled by this small country. In this country of Afghanistan, the world will be ruled. And I guess I say to myself, because for reasoning, I mean, how can you rule the world? Don't you think, let's see, how many countries around the world, how many superpower, what's your capability? I mean, what's the magic you are going to rule the world? And that's how they have this, start gathering this group, which has no reasoning, gathering in Afghanistan and start building this, whatever they could do to create problem for the world. And let's stop here, and in the other video to complete the subject of what next, what happened now about that. Say Afghanistan was to be like a host for this group. Every time this group they get to country and they consider it like a base. From that base, perhaps they are going to conquer the world. I mean, these people is no reasoning, and at the same time they have money, wealth. I mean, the wealth, through the wealth, I think they could do this, and through using the children, they could do this idea of conquering the world. And it's just like reading, like these people is like reading a fictitious story, maybe from the childhood, and that's how they grow up through this series of non-reasoning, and then they start making trouble for others. Let's see in the other lecture, make the video short for this time. Assalamu alaikum.